This is News 8 Now this morning.
The mayor is prepared to make an emergency decree that would list certain buildings for overflow shelter that the city can provide.
It is a little more of a hands-on crop, especially for us because we don't use tractors or anything to plant our stuff. We go by hand.
There is bullying around the school in West Salem, not much of it, and people do step up and fight against bullying, and that's what we're trying to create and show, that you can help people who are bullied.
Painting pumpkins is like way funner than just doing like normal art, because you're painting on like a vegetable instead of like a piece of paper.
That is a preview of what we've got coming up for you here on News 8 Now this morning. I'm Jordan Fremstead.
And I'm Derek Sibley.
Well, happy Thursday to everyone out there, and happy warm weather that we're about to have.
Finally, right? Yeah, we've been waiting for this all week long, Jordan. It's finally starting, and this is just the start of what's to come here, right? Current temperatures into the 30s currently, with La Crosse at 35 degrees. And Eau Claire, you're not too far off the freezing mark this morning. Mundle up 33 degrees for you. Meanwhile, the rest of us, Winona, for example, 32. You're actually at the freezing mark there. And Baroque was currently at 31 degrees, with wind chill factors into the upper 20s to low 30s as well, when you factor in some of the wind speeds that we are currently observing out there too. Some cloudy skies move through overnight, but it looks like the majority of those clouds are well to the east now. But we will be seeing the indications, though, of some more cloudy weather beginning to move in as early as the afternoon. And temperatures warming up into the 40s by 11, followed by the 50s as we head into the afternoon hours. Wind speeds continue to decrease, so wind chills won't be as significant from what we've been seeing recently, but it will still be at least a lot warmer here come the afternoon. And again, this is just a sign of what's to come here for the rest of the week. We'll talk more about the temperatures and depth here as we head into the full weather forecast later. Jordan?
Looking forward to that. Thanks a lot, Derek. Well, time is running out for the homeless at Houska Park. In 11 days, the campground will shut down. News 8 Now's Dua Israr spoke with the city's homeless service coordinator, who says if warming shelters reach capacity, La Crosse's mayor is prepared to make an emergency decree.
The clock is ticking for unsheltered folks at Houska Park. The campground is set to close on Monday, October 31st, but as you can see, there are still many tents up, and many unsheltered folks say they still don't know where they will go. The leaves changing color serves as a reminder of what's to come for people who live outside. On October 31st, Houska Park will shut down.
The deadline was not a decision that the city made,
leaving some campers with uncertainties about where they will go.
I don't know yet.
Some volunteers are helping campers in any way they can before the deadline.
Today is laundry day, so I am going to be taking them to do their laundry.
Volunteer Lee Ann Martinez is a woman of lived experience.
These people are my family. I've cried the same tears. I truly understand where all these people are coming from.
Martinez says there should be resources for a permanent solution to La Crosse's homeless issue.
This shouldn't be happening. There should be affordable housing.
The city's homeless service coordinator, Brian Sampson, says it's not that simple.
This issue didn't just pop up overnight. It's been years in the making, and it's unrealistic to expect this crisis to go away in a short period of time.
Sampson says the city has been working with multiple warming shelters, including Salvation Army and the Catholic Charities.
Provide people that connection to those existing resources, not just kick them out to nowhere.
If warming shelters reach capacity,
the mayor is prepared to make an emergency decree that would list certain buildings for overflow shelter that the city can provide.
Dominic Dello, a camper at Houska Park, says he's thankful for the support.
I just want to say thank you to the people that do help, because it makes a big difference in the world.
Dello says he's doing his best to stay positive.
Be patient and keep trying and do your best every day.
As the weather gets colder. Now, according to the city of La Crosse, everyone at Houska Park was notified the campground will shut down 2 months prior, and they will be notified again 48 hours before the shutdown. As of right now, there are no hotel accommodations. Reporting at Houska Park, Dua Israr, News 8 Now.
Thanks a lot, Dua. City officials say they are still in the process of choosing buildings for use as emergency overflow warming shelters. If Mayor Mitch Reynolds makes an emergency decree, it does have to be approved by the City Council. Habitat for Humanity is getting extra help renovating 2 homes and making them more affordable. Wells Fargo gave the nonprofit $30,000. That money will help crews fix 1 house in La Crosse and 1 in Spring Grove. The La Crosse area Habitat for Humanity is one of more than 230 Habitat partners receiving donations from the Wells Fargo Foundation. West Salem High School students are uniting against bullying. Wednesday was Unity Day, and as part of a marketing class project, a few students set up a photo shoot with everyone wearing orange. The day is about raising awareness to fight bullying.
There is bullying around the school in West Salem, not much of it, and people do step up and fight against bullying, and that's what we're trying to create and show, that you can help people who are bullied.
The students are also donating proceeds from those orange shirts to New Horizons Shelter. For those looking to further their career or try something new, there is a virtual job fair today. These job fairs are mostly manufacturing jobs, but there's also sales, janitorial, and accounting positions available. The La Crosse Job Center is hosting the fair online for the larger La Crosse area. We have a link to that fair at news8000.com. Holmen 5th graders are getting creative. Students at Evergreen Elementary are preparing for the first ever Pumpkin Fest by painting their very own pumpkin. They made many designs, from a classic ghost to a fun Franken pumpkin, and one student chose Spider-Man for his design. He says painting pumpkins during class time is way better than normal art class.
Painting pumpkins is like way funner than just doing like normal art, because you're painting on like a vegetable instead of like a piece of paper.
I agree. All 5th graders' pumpkins will be displayed on Halfway Creek Trail this Saturday afternoon. That runs from 3 to 7. Since 2018, people across the country have had access to legal CBD. News 8 Now's Emily Haugen introduces us to a farm that is growing in both senses of the word.
Vernon County is home to plenty of farms, but none of them are quite like this.
It is a little more of a hands-on crop, especially for us, because we don't use tractors or anything to plant our stuff. We go by hand.
Logan Eldred and Whitney Tuft farm hemp in Westby. Okay. They have for the past 4 years.
When the 2018 Farm Bill came around, I saw opportunity to get involved, so I jumped on it right away. I put an ad in the paper, found some land to work on, and we started.
It's a labor of love for the couple.
I really enjoy farming a lot. The plant is super fun to grow, super fun to just watch the buds develop.
They start in June and hang the plants to dry in October. Their work offers a local direct line from farm to table.
I make all the gummies, the CBD gummies and such.
All out of a kitchen in Viroqua.
We're making products year-round. It's just kind of as we need them.
Those products are sold at local stores and soon their own shop in Holmen.
And that's pretty much our main goal, is to bring to the community a better quality of life through the use of this plant.
All from a business they grew from the ground up. In Westby, Emily Haugen, News 8 Now.
The farmers plan to offer CBD and Delta 8 products as well as massages at the new location soon. Well, still to come here on your Thursday morning news, some major retailers will be closing their doors again this Thanksgiving weekend. What you need to know for your holiday shopping plans just ahead. And the Biden administration invests into WIC programs. The details about the grant that will help mothers throughout the country. We'll have all that and more after the break. Before we do that, we are putting some good in your Thursday morning. Still unsure what to dress for spooky season? Well, Google Trends has got you covered with the top costumes for 2022. Taking the #1 spot was a witch, followed by Spider-Man. Fairies and vampires were also popular choices, along with Batman. Other popular costumes involve characters from Stranger Things, great show, Hocus Pocus, a classic, and Chucky. It is 9 after the hour. Your latest forecast is just ahead here on News 8 Now this morning. We'll be right back in just a few minutes.
Clear skies there from City Cam 8 in downtown La Crosse, and temperature readings are well into the mid-30s this morning, but there are some spots that are feeling like it's in the 20s when you factor in the wind chill. La Crosse, Sparta, Viroqua, even up towards the north in Eau Claire, all feeling like the upper 20s this morning. Got some cloudy skies moving in from the north, but most of the clouds, though, have moved towards the east of us now, and we're looking clear, but we may see some more cloud development later in the day, with high temperatures in La Crosse County reaching the mid to upper 50s. It'll be 57 in Bangor. As we head south, it'll be 59 today in Steuben, just shy of 60 in many spots here in Soldiers Grove and Gays Mills to the east as well. Westby, you'll be at 55 degrees. Winona at 57. Trempealeau also at 57. 55 today in Warrens and 56 Black River Falls. 54 in Osseo. Highs reaching 53 in Fall Creek and 53 as well in Augusta. 54 in Altoona. 53 in Eau Claire. For your schoolcast this morning, 36 in Clear. Some cloudy skies develop by the lunch hour, and then those cloudy weather conditions persist this afternoon with temperatures at 56 degrees around dismissal. I'll be back with another check on the full weather forecast.
The Biden administration makes a big investment. The administration is investing $53 million in the Women, Infants, and Children Nutrition Program. The grant aims to improve outreach efforts, technology, and the shopping experience for families receiving aid. The funding comes from the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021. The effort comes as the Biden administration seeks to bolster food assistance and minimize hunger in the U.S. Top retailers are giving workers a break this Thanksgiving. Walmart, Target, and Best Buy will close their doors this Turkey Day, a practice many companies started in response to the pandemic. At the same time, the big retail chains are starting discounts early this year. Some have already launched promotions and sales events and plan to spread them out across the season. Some Floridians will soon be able to buy medical marijuana while pumping gas at Circle K. The Canadian convenience store is teaming up with Green Thumb Industries. The cannabis packaged goods company will put dispensaries next to the gas station. Customers can get smokable cannabis buds, pre-rolls, gummies, and vapes from the dispensaries. For now, the dispensaries will be at 10 different locations across that state. Florida citrus growers had anticipated their first good crop in several years, but Hurricane Ian laid waste to much of the harvest. Most Florida oranges end up as juice, and as CBS's Christian Benavidez reports, the damage adds up for customers at the grocery store checkouts across the country.
Looking around his orchard, fifth-generation Florida citrus grower Roy Pettaway sees dollar signs in the loss column.
We're estimating at least 40% of our crop is on the ground and unusable and unmarketable.
Hurricane Ian drenched Florida citrus groves last month, sending oranges to the ground and causing tree damage growers haven't yet fully assessed.
When we have trees that will all of a sudden rapidly die in the next 6 months to 8 months, those can be attributed then to either water issues, wind issues.
More than 375,000 acres in Florida are devoted to citrus, fueling a nearly $6.7 billion industry in the state. Orange production is already down 32% from the previous season, and preliminary estimates put citrus losses from Ian as high as $304 million. Growers only recently shook the lingering grip of 2017's Hurricane Irma.
This is no doubt a gut punch to an industry that we believe is on the cusp of being able to stabilize and start to rebuild.
Those factors could all put the squeeze to consumers with higher juice prices at the grocery store.
With inflation already so high, I mean, what kind of increases are we talking about here? I'd say at least 20%.
Patrick Penfield is a professor of supply chain practice at Syracuse University and says the impact on consumers could get even worse.
California is now the #1 producer of oranges, but I would anticipate probably next year is when you're going to start hearing about how they have a shortage also, and that's because they just don't have enough water.
For now, producers will have to rely more heavily on those California oranges and imported citrus from South America.
Estimates from the University of Florida economists say Hurricane Ian's total damage to agriculture is as high as $1.56 billion.
Well, this morning we are waking up to temperatures around 35 degrees at the airports, but downtown we're just a bit cooler at 34. A south wind at around 9 miles an hour under mainly clear skies. Here in Eau Claire, 33 degrees for you, looking cooler as well, and clear skies in place. South winds, or southwest winds, I should say, at around 7 miles an hour. Our temperatures across the rest of the area mainly into the 30s, but some spots like Black River Falls, of course, coldest at 29 degrees. Boscobel down south is at 30. Looking at a few clouds here moving in from the north. We had some cloudier skies overnight across most areas. Looks like more of those clouds, though, are pushing well off to the east, though, currently, with wind chill factors feeling like it's in the 20s in many spots. It feels like 27 now in Eau Claire with the wind, and 27 as well in Viroqua. We're feeling like 29 degrees currently in Sparta. Forecast highs today should reach those mid to upper 50s, but Eau Claire could be cool, though, with a high of around 53 degrees. Down south, Prairie du Chien, Boscobel could reach the low 60s, though, this afternoon. 34 degrees, clear and cold conditions this morning, and then turning cloudy here by noon, 50 degrees. Still pretty cloudy, but warmer. Temperatures at 56 by 5, and then partly cloudy skies with temperature readings around 44 degrees by this evening. Now, speaking of temperatures, that's really the main story here in weather, because there are some changes on the way. Sure, it's cold now, especially to the north over Canada, where we're seeing temperatures in the 20s, but we're going to be warming up well into the 50s, though, come this afternoon, with the 60s and 70s not too far away. In fact, you'll notice as we head into the weekend that those readings actually get closer to us, because what's happening is we're watching a system to our west packing in that southerly wind, and that should help keep us warm here, especially as we head into Saturday. We'll get more of that south wind here to traverse across the area, picking up our highs well into the 70s for Saturday afternoon, and in fact the 80s here across portions of Iowa and the Central Plains. I don't think we'll get quite that warm, but yeah, it is definitely a big change here as far as our temperatures are concerned. A gradual warm up here expected before you can see we start to see some cooler and wet weather arrive as we head into Monday, and that's from that low here to the west of us, which is going to help change us up yet again, giving us some thunderstorm activity Sunday night into Monday, and then drier conditions for the rest of next week, highs in the 40s and 50s. Stay tuned, though. Much more news and weather still to come right here on News 8 Now this morning. But for now, we're sending you to break with a look at what happened on this day in history. We'll be right back. We're watching some clouds move around across the Coulee region as we speak, and it looks like the majority of them have kind of moved towards the east right now, and that is allowing our temperatures here across the central zones to decrease as well. And you can see that there as it continues to loop. Looking at current temperatures, we're well into the 30s, with 33 just shy of the freezing mark in Eau Claire, 35 in La Crosse, and 32 degrees currently in Winona. We do have feel-like temperatures, though, into the 20s in many spots here this morning when you factor in the wind speeds. Dog walking conditions look good this morning. A little cold, though. Cloudier skies, though, for the afternoon and also well into the evening. Mowing forecast, you might want to wait, though, until we reach at least by 11. That's when we could be near the 50s, but high temperatures well into the upper 50s by 3 o'clock under cloudy skies. I'll be back with the commute forecast in just a bit.
Welcome to the Blitz. The Wisconsin High School football playoffs kick off on Friday, but last night a lot of Minnesota high schools wrapping up their regular season, and for the Warriors, just one blemish on their record up to this point. They were looking to finish strong before they begin their playoff run. Let's head to Caledonia. 6-1 Warriors hosting 6-1 Cannon Falls. Early on, it's the Bombers striking first. Strong possession here, capped off by Sam Shapersky. It's 8-0 in the second. Bombers, they get in again. The QB sneak works for Colton Otto. That makes it 16-0 Bombers. But here come the Warriors later in the second. Aiden Getzinger gets the rock. Look at that hole. The senior takes it straight up the middle. He's gone down the near sideline, 59 yards to the house. Warriors have some life. Deficit cut to just 10. It's 16-6. But before the half, the Bombers answer right back, and it's Shapersky again. He punches it in for 6. Cannon Falls takes a 16-point lead into the break. Warriors finish the regular season 6-2. They fall in this one 38-20. Timberwolves tipping off their season last night in Minneapolis against OKC. Big off-season acquisition, Rudy Gobert had himself a night. Third quarter winding down. Gobert beats the buzzer with the runner. Wolves fans are fired up. That ties the game at 87 going into the fourth. Wolves up 1 now with less than 10 to go. It's Gobert again. Count this one plus the foul. Minnesota goes up by 3. Then with 3 to go, Wolves up 2. D'Lo comes up short, but Gobert was everywhere last night. He puts it in. 23 points, 16 rebounds in his Wolves debut. And then it's Russell putting this one on ice. He takes it coast to coast. Timberwolves open up the season with a win, 115-108. That'll do it for the Blitz. We'll see you tonight.
Breaking overnight, bacteria is growing on a World War II ship that sunk more than 80 years ago in the North Sea off the coast of Belgium. Scientists say the wreck is still leaking explosives and other toxic elements into the ocean that can be toxic to marine life. While there are ways to clean it up, they will take time and will be expensive. UK inflation is back at a 40-year high. Food and drink prices are rising as cash-strapped households cut back on spending. The annual rate of inflation rose to 10% in September. This jump in food prices is the main reason for the acceleration in inflation, jumping up 14%. All eyes were on Elnaz Rekabi, as she climbed a rock wall in Seoul, South Korea, without her headscarf. Her decision to climb without her headscarf broke the Islamic Republic's rules for women in sport and especially pointed toward the thousands of Iranian women who have been protesting for the past month against required hijab. The Ukraine and Russian war is having an impact closer to home that affects our crops. Ukraine provides 10% of all the wheat in the world, and farmers are looking at ways to fill the void. John Lauritsen shows us why future fall harvests may also be a time for planting.
October in Minnesota means harvest time for corn and soybeans. But as those crops leave the fields, another crop is going in.
Historically, we are a spring wheat country. Minnesota spring wheat. Mill City, that was all built on spring wheat.
Joachim Wiersma is a small grains agronomist with University of Minnesota Extension. Spring wheat is planted in the springtime and harvested closer to fall, but near the town of Becker.
So it's about 1.5 inches below the soil surface.
Wiersma is trying to see if there's a future for winter wheat and winter rye. Those crops are planted in the fall and then go dormant in the winter. They actually thrive under the snow.
If you have snow cover, that helps greatly. 4 inches of snow is a great insulator. It's actually easier in Manitoba, believe it or not, because you have more snow cover.
As soon as the snow melts, winter wheat starts growing, and by the end of May, it will already be 3 or 4 feet high. Wiersma says Minnesota's fake springs make it tricky to grow the crop. That's why he's closely monitoring the hundreds of test plots he planted this fall using different seeds. But he believes in the future. This could be a third crop that fills a void. He says climate change, economic issues, and a war overseas mean more wheat could be needed.
That little advantage of starting now and starting earlier in the spring already makes that difference happen.
Until now, Minnesota's harsh winters have made it hard for anything to survive in December, January, and February. But Wiersma believes that if this works, it could also help with wind and water erosion. That's why these tests are so important.
Do they fit in Minnesota? Do they like being in this neck of the woods? I just want to be prepared. If the questions come, I'd like to have the answers beforehand.
Kansas and Nebraska already grow a lot of winter wheat, and the feeling is that Minnesota could join them if the U of M can find the best seed to use. The winter rye is used to help feed pigs in Europe, and it's believed it could do the same here for pigs in the U.S. Well, the race for Minnesota's governor is heating up as candidates took the debate stage on Tuesday night. DFL incumbent Tim Walz is facing Republican challenger Dr. Scott Jensen. On the subject of school safety, Walz says public safety funding was shot down by Republicans in the legislature and says there's chances for gun reform. Dr. Jensen says teachers and students are under threat and says it's due to the governor's actions during the George Floyd protests.
This is a product of a lawlessness that's swept over our state. And it started with Tim Walz delaying in May and June of 2020. He unleashed, if you will, a poisonous spread of lawlessness. Arguably, he is the godfather of the crime epidemic that has swept our country.
We have guns on the streets that were meant for war.
We have the opportunity to do smart things, whether it be background checks or making sure we have red flag laws. In many of these cases, once we go back and deconstruct this, the easy access to these firearms is one of the problems. We see that in our streets today. A shooting at the Park restaurant in St. Paul, the person who ended up with 2 of the guns there got them through a straw buyer who bought 90 of them.
This was the only debate between the candidates this election season. The debate over increasing funding, called shared revenue, is happening all over Wisconsin. Over the past decade, the state's collection of taxes has gone up, but the amount of money it sends back to cities has remained the same. On Wednesday, the candidates for Wisconsin's 94th Assembly District, incumbent Democrat Steve Doyle and Republican challenger Ryan Hipsch, talked about their plans for funding local governments.
So we need to make sure we come in and bring in a shared revenue increase, and I'm totally for that.
You can't just throw money at a problem. What you have to do is to give greater flexibility when you give that responsibility.
News 8 Now will air the 94th Assembly debate this Friday evening at 7. You can watch that on Channel 8.2. Over a century of speaking out, the League of Wisconsin Municipalities is meeting this week for their 124th annual conference. This year, government officials will discuss how to fix the funding of local governments. Leaders from across the state are in attendance. The village president of Holmen, Patrick Barlow, spoke up. He says the rapid growth of Holmen, 2,500 people since 2011, is putting stress on funds and public safety officials.
Our community is only one of many this fall that are reaching out through public safety referendums to use this as a pathway in order to meet our critical needs. And we definitely need help from our partners in state and local government.
The referendum question asks Holmen voters whether they support increasing the village levy by nearly $1.3 million in order to invest in hiring more first responders. A nautical beacon of history will bid farewell to La Crosse next year. The decades-old steam-powered Julia Bell Swain has been docked in the area for about a decade. A Florida-based yacht cruise company bought the boat from the nonprofit Julia Bell Swain Foundation. They plan to renovate the Bell Swain and use it for year-round river cruises to continue to tell the story of the Mississippi. But before leaving the Julia Bell Swain, he says the company will have a chance, or the community, I should say, will have a chance to give it a proper goodbye.
We will do plenty of cruises here in La Crosse before we leave town, and we feel very indebted to the city of La Crosse. The passion of the workers here restoring the boats is just incredible.
Manthe says those cruises in La Crosse will take place in mid to late spring next year. He also thanked the Julia Bell Swain Foundation for its efforts since 2013 to preserve the boat. By the end of the restoration, Manthe says the boat will have another 50 years of life on the water. Well, back from retirement to share her decades of experience, a Wisconsin welder is sparking the interest of area high schoolers. Tahlil Mohildeen shares how one teacher and the students following in her footsteps are breaking barriers.
Wanda White certainly knows her way around a blowtorch.
You couldn't stop me. I was on a mission.
After spending almost 30 years at Stoughton Trailers, she came to be known as quite the expert.
And we don't want to stick to the table.
But as one of only a few women in her field, that respect was hard earned.
They look at your work and then they look at theirs and they say, oh, well, you know what? Maybe she can do this, you know. And I'm looking at them like, yeah, I can do this.
Now she's hoping to make it easier for other women.
They call this an overlap.
Wanting to pursue a career in welding.
I love Wanda. She was just so funny. She's been amazing.
Michaela Walk is one of 8 high schoolers who signed up for Wanda's class, Welding for Women.
It's been more than I was expecting. Honestly, I feel like I'm a grown-up adult here.
The career exploration course is run by the Dane County School Consortium. The group's goal is to promote non-traditional occupations among students, in this case specifically, young girls.
Turns out women, can weld really well.
I think it is helping me not be as nervous to be able to weld with other people because it's a bunch of girls.
And these girls say they're learning a lot about how much welding impacts the world and having fun doing it. For Wanda, that makes her job all the more rewarding.
Matter of fact, I love those girls.
That's so awesome. Well, this is the second round of Women for Welding class. The Dane County School Consortium also runs construction, automotive, pharmacy, and veterinary courses.
Got some cloudy skies that continue to move through the area, but overall those clouds are still decreasing after what was a bit of a cloudy overnight start. And you can see those clouds now continue to move through portions of the eastern zones, keeping them a little bit warmer than the rest of us that are seeing some clearing. It's allowing the temperatures to drop now as we're seeing temperature readings into the low to mid 30s, and wind chill factors are into the upper 20s in some spots like La Crosse there at 28 and Eau Claire at 27. Sparta feeling like 29 degrees here for this morning. 58 degrees is what we're expected to be this afternoon under mainly cloudy skies. A little bit warmer here too. Northwest winds at 5 to 10. For tonight, 41 degrees, partly cloudy, not as cold either, with south winds light at 5 to 10 miles an hour as well. For your drive-cast this morning, a bit cool, but mainly clear and sunny. Cloudy skies though as we head to your lunch hour, and we will be looking at some cloudier weather here once again for the evening as well. I'll be back with a final check on the full weather forecast in just a bit. Jordan?
Thanks a lot, Derek. Coming up in the Buzz Report this morning, Creed comes back into the ring for round 3. This time, it's personal. We'll share you more details on the threequel once we return. We're back in just a few minutes.
35 degrees with clear skies at the airport in La Crosse, but here at News 8 we're at 33 downtown, so a little bit cooler. 28 degrees is the feel like temperature. 5.14 feet is the river stage currently, and that continues to rise. Our Eau Claire current conditions are at 33 degrees with clear skies here as well. A southwest wind at around 7 miles an hour to work with this morning. Current conditions everywhere else mainly into those low 30s, 31 now. Black River Falls below the freezing mark. Same in Viroqua. Basketball even colder than that at 30 degrees. 33 in Eau Claire, and Winona is at 32 degrees. We had some cloudy skies here overnight across our central zones, but now that those clouds here have moved towards the east, it's allowing those temperatures to cool down, and that's exactly what we're observing. And we got those cloudy skies here well to the east of us here this morning now, with feel like temperatures into the 20s, some of us into the low 30s this morning across much of the Coulee region, with forecast highs today expected to be much warmer than that. I'm expecting highs to pick up well into the mid to upper 50s come this afternoon. Daycast mostly cloudy by noon, 50 degrees and 56 and cloudy, but still pretty warm here, at least warmer compared to what we've been seeing lately. And then partly cloudy skies by 9 o'clock. Temperatures will be right around 44 degrees. So we're expecting a warm up here over the coming days. Starting today, we're expecting highs to reach the 50s here across much of the area. That's because an area of high pressure here is going to begin to move in. That should help keep us warm here, especially as we head into the day tomorrow too. We'll be looking at 60s here moving in, followed by the 70s as we head into Saturday, as a developing low here to the west is going to move some south winds across the area, and that's going to help keep us, that's going to bring in some warmer air for us to work with to help really warm up the temperatures quite a bit by the end of this week. In fact, the 80s are not too far away. They could be as warm as the 80s here across the central plains, including portions of Iowa as well. Now, I don't think we'll get quite that warm, but at least we'll be warmer compared to what we've been seeing here so far this week. And we'll be looking at the 70s again this weekend. But notice here as we head into early next week, we'll be looking at a chance of showers and thunderstorms. That's actually going to start Sunday night into Monday out ahead of that system. So we're going to kind of have to pay for the warm air, because right after that we're going to get pretty cool and wet here to begin next week. But after that, the rest of next week, though, after Monday looks relatively dry. We'll be looking at highs into the 40s and 50s across much of the area.
In our Buzz Report this morning, Michael B. Jordan returns to the ring as Adonis Creed in Creed 3, the actor's directorial debut, alongside franchise newcomer Jonathan Majors as Damian Anderson.
Damian was like family. I know I've been away a long time, but I kept myself in shape. I still got gas in the tank.
Then maybe you just have to find him.
The boxing threequel is set to hit theaters next spring. Well, TikTok is a source of fun, memes, and music for many of its users, but up-and-coming music artist found herself banned from the social media app for posting a song. Well, I guess we couldn't wait for Look Who's 8 here, so
I
we're
guess
just going to
not.
get right into it because we've got a pair of birthdays to celebrate this morning.
That's right. So happy 8th birthday to Lenora. She loves to spend time with her dog Juno and go swimming as well. Happy birthday, Lenora.
And a happy birthday to Rich this morning, who turns 80 years young today. Rich loves to garden, woodwork, and party, of course.
Yeah, can't forget about partying. If you know a special someone turning 8 months, 8 years, 18, 80 years old, or 88 years old soon, we'd love to feature them.
Yeah, make sure you let us know. You're going to upload their photo to our website at news8000.com and look for the Submit Pictures button under the Home tab on our website. Well, we apologize for those technical difficulties
It happens.
for the buzz. It's been a week, folks. We hope you can stay with us. We've got everything you need to know today in 5 minutes or less. Your Morning News Now is up next. Your Morning News Now on this Thursday. Time is running out for homeless at Houska Park. In 11 days, the campground will shut down. The city has been working with nonprofits to provide the unsheltered a place to stay during the winter. But if those charities and others tell the city they are at maximum capacity, the city does have a backup plan.
The mayor is prepared to make an emergency decree that would list certain buildings for overflow shelter that the city can provide.
City and community partners have been meeting since August to find a solution for the winter, but finding a long-term solution will take time. If the mayor makes an emergency decree, it will have to be approved by the city council. Vernon County is home to plenty of farms, but as far as these Westby farmers know, they are the only farmers of hemp. Logan Eldred and Whitney Toft have farmed on this plot of land for the past 4 years since the 2018 Farm Bill, and they say it is a lot of work, but it is a labor of love.
It is a little more of a hands-on crop, especially for us because we don't use tractors or anything to plant our stuff. We go by hand.
Eldred and Tuft make their own products from their crop, including CBD gummies and lotions. They sell them at local retailers.
We are looking at clear skies here this morning and temperatures well into the 30s, warming up into the 40s by 11, mostly cloudy, and then cloudier skies here by the afternoon, but high temperatures picking up into the upper 50s.
Habitat for Humanity is getting extra help renovating 2 homes and making them more affordable. Wells Fargo gave the nonprofit $30,000. That money will help crews fix 1 house in La Crosse and 1 in Spring Grove. The La Crosse Area Habitat for Humanity is one of more than 230 Habitat partners receiving donations from the Wells Fargo Foundation. For those looking to further their career or try something new, there is a virtual job fair today. These jobs are mostly manufacturing jobs, but there is also sales, janitorial, and accounting positions available. The La Crosse Job Center is hosting the fair online for the larger La Crosse area. We have a link to that fair at news8000.com. Holman 5th graders are getting creative. Students at Evergreen Elementary are preparing for the first ever Pumpkin Fest by painting their very own pumpkin. You see it there. Many of the designs came as far as like a classic ghost to a fun Franken pumpkin, and one student chose Spider-Man for his design. He says painting pumpkins during class time is way better than normal art class.
Way funner than just doing like normal art, because you're painting on like a vegetable instead of like a piece of paper.
All the 5th graders' pumpkins will be displayed on Halfway Creek Trail this Saturday afternoon from 3 to 7.
And as you head out the door this morning, our temperatures are well into the low 30s, lots of clear skies, but we are going to be looking at some cloudier weather potentially moving in later today. Highs reaching 58, overall much warmer though.
Temperatures in the 70s still possible Saturday?
Yes, tomorrow, this weekend, yeah, definitely.
Good. Probably the final weekend. Got to get outside and take advantage of it.
It's going to be a while.
Well, thank you for joining us this morning. Don't forget to keep up with the news of the day at news8000.com, and we'll have the latest coming up this afternoon on News 8 Now at noon. CBS Mornings follows us here. Derek and I will see you right back here tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. Have a great day.